Kenny, what's going on, man?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Good.
Thanks for having me. I'm a relatively new listener from Maryland, and I just recently, you were talking about Trump supporters and how hard it is to get through to them. I recently had to cut ties with my last remaining family member over this because
Wow.
she wants to believe everything that Trump tells her, and I offered, irrefutable proof of things that prove that he's lying, and it just goes in one ear and out the other. And it's like, how can you sit there and say that you love me as your relative, as your nephew, but then you would go and put somebody in office that would, put me at jeopardy? And the funny thing is she has a daughter that she adopted from China, and her daughter is the same as me. We're part of the LGBT,
Right.
And it's just like, how do you? I don't know. I just don't know how
Kenny, I
you
want to
wrap
tell
your
you
mind
something.
around.
First of all, let me tell you, I'm very sorry that you're having to deal with this family member. But I'm going to tell you, sadly, you're not alone. If you listen to this show, you know a lot of people call into this show and talk about how they've lost family members, not because they've lost their lives. They've lost family
Right.
members because they're so far gone they can't even talk to them anymore. And Kenny, you sound like a really reasonable guy, and it's sad. And when I say look at the damage that Donald Trump has done to this country, I'm not even necessarily talking just from a policy standpoint. I'm talking about a standpoint of friendships, family members, people that can't even talk to other family members, not because we're just angry people and we're repulsed and we can't. It's because there are people in our family or close friends of ours that seem to condone the attacks on the LGBTQ community. They seem to condone the attacks on transgenders. They seem to be okay with the rally that took place at MSG the other day when they went after black people, Jews. They went after all sorts of different people in the crayon box. How can we, as family members or friendships, keep those people in our lives when we know we have nothing in common with them? And it's very disheartening to hear me say that. But at the same time, Kenny, I'm glad that there are people like you out there. And what can we do except go to the ballot box and vote, right, Kenny?
Exactly. And to bring up that point on the racism, I've always looked at it. I grew up in a Republican household, and when I got out of that household and could see things for myself, my views changed tremendously. But
Yeah.
in terms of the racism, it's like, why would you, not associate with somebody just because of the color of their skin? You
Because they're
lose out
bigots,
on
Kenny,
possible
because they're bigots, they're racists, and I'm going to repeat this once again, Kenny, because I think it's important, which is that is Donald Trump's base. I've never said everybody who supports Donald Trump is a racist. I've never said everybody who supports Donald Trump is a bigot. That is Donald Trump's base. Bigots, racist, uneducated, ill-informed people that are hateful people. Kenny, I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through, but let's hope that it'll all be over soon, and let's hope that we get the result we want come election day. And I am so glad you called, and I am so glad I have listeners like you out there. I say it every day. I am humbled by that. The people who call into this show that are good, hardworking Americans, educated people. We had someone from Puerto Rico who just called into the show. We had Kenny who just called in, who sadly lost family members, not because of death, but because of up here, because of who they're supporting and their bigotry. But I'm glad you are on the right side of history, Kenny, and we're going to keep the fight up, my man. Let's keep the fight.